Knowing the entire cycle of a product from extraction to production to usage and end of life is broadly known as life cycle assessment. LCA includes both direct and indirect inputs like water and electricity. In simplest terms, calculating the amount of carbon emissions for mining, harnessing and production, water utilized, emissions, amount of waste produced from manufacturing, disposal of product and its components, and packaging. In this chapter, we shall discuss what is LCA and its importance. Life cycle analysis is an evaluation tool to measure the operational and consumptive impact of a product on the natural environment. As defined by the Environmental Protection Agency America, LCA is a way to evaluate the environmental effects associated with any given industrial activity from the initial gathering of raw materials from the earth until the point at which all residuals are returned to the earth. The LCA includes the raw material extraction and acquisition, energy and material production, manufacturing and end-of-life treatment, and final disposal. LCA is a tool that allows to model the impacts of a product in the environment. It can be used to compare the impacts of two or more products in order to assess which one is more or less beneficial in certain aspects. Hence, like any other comprehensive analysis, LCA takes into account environmental impact from start to finish of the product, given the name cradle to grave. Here, finish refers to disposal. LCA determines the product's carbon footprint through packaging, design, and material choices. For example, LCA of a paper bag would measure the energy a bag uses, how much deforestation it causes, if ended up in landfill, how much methane it produces, is it easy to compost or recycle? Evaluation of the impact of the product help companies to strategize on circular practices. And LCA calculates how green product is. It gives a clearer picture on how to develop a more environmentally friendly product. So we start with sound planning and can opt for alternative strategies depending upon the nature of service the product provides. Like products can be made for longer durability and better recyclability, or shorter use and better disposability. Today, the product development cycles are becoming shorter in order to keep up with the customer's expectation, need, and competition, making LCA challenging. Companies should not hesitate to collaborate for determining LCA. Sharing of ideas will enrich everyone with more knowledge, facilitating better systems in place for LCA. LCA is all about questioning, answering, and acting on the product's environmental impact. Different phases of a life cycle analysis could be goal definition. It defines how a product can become greener. As per ISO guidelines, the goal of LCA must unambiguously state its intended application, reason for carrying out the study, the audience, and whether the result will be used in a comparative assertion released publicly. Data collection. Collecting information on how the product is produced, taking into account the data from sourcing of raw materials to nature of raw materials to processing, transport emissions, and customers' use and end of life. Impact assessment. Developing metrics to assess the impact. After this, the organization is prepared to report on the product impact. Interpretation. This stage is all about watching the overall impact of the product and making suggestions for changes. All stakeholders should be considered at this stage for smooth decision making. Having an all-inclusive, exhaustive life cycle assessments takes the major thinking part of the greening the product process. The final stage of interpretation may leave the organization with options to either developing a new greener product or improve the existing product for positive environmental impact. These options also include policy making, strategic planning for cost reduction, marketing and communication for outreach on company sustainability to the public. We have so far read that life cycle assessment plays an important role in determining the product's impact. Let us now see the overall role of an LCA. Creates data. Data collection helps businesses make accurate and informed decisions. LCA gathers data on various product matrices. This is called life cycle inventory. Life cycle inventory analysis involves creating an inventory of flows of product systems. It is a process of quantifying raw material and energy requirements, atmospheric emissions, land and water emissions, resource uses, and other releases over life cycle of a product or a process. Measures impact. Life cycle assessment prevents reducing the environmental impact in one stage while not shifting the impact to the other stages of the life cycle. Rather than optimizing one indicator, LCA provides a holistic view on the environmental impacts. Moreover, LCA provides the possibility to identify hotspots in the environmental impact. It provides insights in how to improve the processes to achieve reduced environmental effect. LCA thus plays major role in environmental impact assessment, integrated waste management, and pollution studies. Sustainability solutions. A life cycle assessment helps find issues in product stages and brings them to attention of the producer, allowing them to change their ways. For example, LCA of running shoes can provide the producer with innovative sustainable design solutions like waterless dyeing, glueless construction, repairable manufacturing systems, shoes for recyclability, shoes with quality materials for repair, reuse, and recycling, post-consumer waste collection systems from manufacturers, creating recycling systems for common shoe material like leather. Therefore, LCA enhances research and development scope for new products. Supply chain management. In many industries, the supply chain accounts for more than 80% of the environmental impact. For supply chain managers, choosing the right supplier is often a hard decision where far more factors than just price play a role. A life cycle assessment gives insight into which company they should source from. Marketing and sales. In the recent times, customers are more likely to buy and support sustainable products than the conventional ones. Sustainable solutions developed from LCA can help the businesses market their product over their competitors and reach new markets. LCA helps products to stay ahead of competition. Regulation preparedness. LCA can help you improve the overall transparency so that you can deflect scrutiny from the stakeholders and regulators across your company. Communication tool. Life cycle assessment has been recognized as a stakeholder engagement tool. The result of LCA studies can be used to justify corporate decisions with respect to operations, material inputs, and more. Perhaps more importantly, it can be used to defend against uninformed criticism. Greenwashing. All over, the customers have become wary of being greenwashed. If properly conducted and verified independently, LCA can be used as a tool to avoid greenwashing and prove your credibility. Asset management. To keep up with the rising product costs, businesses, instead of managing only operating and maintenance expenses, want to create lower cost products. Lifecycle assessment can minimize lifecycle costs and maximize salvage value.